Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this explosive edition of entertainment news where the worlds of divas collide in the most dramatic fashion imaginable. Picture this: the glittering lights of a bustling daytime talk show set, the air buzzing with anticipation as the audience erupts in cheers for one of the greatest voices of our generation, Mariah Carey, the Queen of Christmas herself, stepping onto the stage of the Jennifer Hudson show. Jennifer Hudson, the powerhouse talent fresh from her EGOT achievements, beams with that infectious smile, her energy lighting up the room like a spotlight on Broadway. But what starts as a celebration of vocal legends quickly spirals into a confrontation that no one saw coming. It all begins innocently enough with Jennifer gushing over Mariah's timeless hits, from "Vision of Love," that launched her into stardom in the late 80s to the inescapable holiday anthem, "All I Want for Christmas Is You," that turns every December into her personal empire. The crowd is loving it, clapping along as Mariah, draped in a shimmering gown that catches every camera angle, settles into the plush interview chair, her signature curls cascading like a waterfall of glamour. Jennifer dives right in, asking about Mariah's latest tour, the Merry Christmas One and All extravaganza that's been packing arenas worldwide with festive cheer and confetti cannons exploding like fireworks. Mariah smiles that enigmatic smile, her voice a soft melody as she recounts stories of fans dressed as elves and reindeer, the magic of the season wrapped in her 5-octave range. But there's a subtle undercurrent, a flicker in Mariah's eyes that hints at something deeper, perhaps the weight of decades in the spotlight, the battles fought against industry giants who tried to dim her light. As the conversation flows, Jennifer shifts gears, probing into Mariah's memoir, that raw tell-all, The Meaning of Mariah Carey, where she spilled the tea on her tumultuous marriage to Nick Cannon, the custody wars that tore at her soul, and the bipolar diagnosis that she bravely shared to shatter stigmas. The audience leans in, hungry for more vulnerability, but Mariah's responses grow measured, her laughter a touch forced, like she's guarding a fortress built from years of tabloid scrutiny. Jennifer, ever the empathetic host, presses gently, sharing her own scars from the tragic loss of her family, drawing parallels between their rises from adversity, Mariah from a mixed-race family in Long Island facing racism, Jennifer from the Chicago projects overcoming unimaginable grief. It's a moment of sisterhood, or so it seems, with the two icons toasting with champagne flutes filled with sparkling cider, toasting to resilience and the power of song. Yet, as the cameras roll and the band plays a soft underscore of "Hero," the temperature in the studio begins to rise, unspoken tensions simmering beneath the surface like a pot about to boil over. Fans watching live tweet their excitement, hashtags like #MariahOnJHUD trending worldwide, oblivious to the storm brewing just off script. Little do they know, this interview is about to etch itself into pop culture lore, a clash of titans that will have everyone talking for weeks. And it all hinges on one question, one innocent probe that strikes a nerve deeper than anyone anticipated, setting the stage for Mariah's unforgettable exit. As the applause dies down from their shared toast, Jennifer leans forward, her eyes sparkling with curiosity, and drops the question that's been bubbling in the industry's gossip mills. "Mariah, you've been so open about your journey, but let's get real, what do you think of the new wave of artists sampling your sound without giving props? Like Ariana Grande, your mini-me, as they call her. Belting those whistles and runs, does it feel like homage or just straight-up imitation?" The studio falls into a hushed anticipation, the audience murmuring in agreement, phones at the ready to capture every nuance. Mariah pauses, her manicured fingers tracing the rim of her glass, a beat longer than usual, her expression shifting from serene to stormy in the blink of an eye. She tilts her head, that iconic butterfly necklace glinting under the lights, and responds with a velvet-edged tone, "Well, Jennifer, imitation is the sincerest form of flattery, but when it's done without credit, it feels like borrowing my stilettos and strutting like you invented the walk." The crowd chuckles nervously, sensing the shade, but Jennifer, undeterred and perhaps a bit too eager to keep the energy high, laughs it off and pivots, "Oh, come on, Mimi. Ariana's your biggest fan, she said you're her blueprint. But speaking of blueprints, I've heard whispers that my vocal coach once suggested I channel a bit of your melisma in my runs. Flattering, right? Or does it ever get under your skin when folks say we're rivals in the diva lane?" Now, the air thickens like fog rolling in off Lake Michigan, where Jennifer's roots run deep. Mariah's smile tightens, her eyes narrowing just a fraction, and she counters, "Rivals? Honey, I've been paving roads since you were in diapers singing in church choirs. It's not rivalry, it's respect, or it should be." The words hang heavy, laced with the history of two black women navigating a whitewashed industry that pits them against each other for sport. Jennifer, feeling the sting but mistaking it for playful banter, pushes further, "Exactly. That's why I love having you here, to show the world we lift each other up. Remember when I covered We Belong Together at the Grammys? The crowd went wild. Mariah nods curtly, but inside, the embers ignite. Memories flood back of her own Grammy snubs, the 2000s backlash after Glitter, the relentless comparisons that haunted her career. The audience shifts uncomfortably, whispers rippling through the seats like a Mexican wave gone wrong. Backstage, producers exchange glances, whispering into headsets, "Is this going south?" But on air, the facade holds, barely, as Mariah sips her drink, composing herself with the grace of a swan masking its fury. Jennifer, sensing a lull, cues the band for a quick clip of Mariah's Emotions, the upbeat track filling the space with nostalgia. As the music plays, Mariah air mics along, but her movements are stiff, her usual fluid charisma replaced by a robotic poise that fans later dissect frame by frame. When the song fades, Jennifer jumps in again, that energy. "Mariah, tell us, how do you keep that fire after all these years? Any advice for up-and-comers like me who are still chasing that EGOT glow?" It's meant to be empowering, a nod to Jennifer's recent win, but to Mariah, it lands like a subtle dig, implying she's past her prime while Jennifer's star ascends. The diva's internal monologue races. Years of being called difficult, labeled a prima donna for demanding what she deserves, the exhaustion of proving her worth time and again. Her response comes cool and clipped, advice. Stay true to your voice, not someone else's echo. The subtext screams volumes, and in that moment, the interview tips from camaraderie to combat, the once warm set now a battlefield of unspoken grievances. The tension escalates like a crescendo in one of Mariah's ballads, building to a peak that leaves jaws on the floor. Jennifer, perhaps fueled by the live adrenaline or a producer's nudge in her earpiece, decides to double down, her voice rising with feigned enthusiasm, echoes. "Oh, Mariah, you're timeless, no one's echoing you, they're building cathedrals on your foundation." But seriously, let's spill, that feud with Nicki Minaj on American Idol, was it as messy as the headlines? I mean, we all saw the claws come out. The audience gasps collectively, a mix of thrill and shock, as if they've stumbled into a Real Housewives reunion uninvited. Mariah's face, usually a canvas of poised perfection, flushes ever so slightly under the makeup, her lips pursing into a thin line that could cut glass. She sets her glass down with deliberate slowness, the clink echoing like a gavel in the quiet that follows. Messy. Jennifer, the media loves to stir pots they can't taste. Nicki and I had our moments, sure, but let's not pretend this is about her. Or is there a point you're trying to make about queens clashing crowns? The retort is sharp, slicing through the pleasantries like a high note shattering crystal, and the crowd erupts in a murmur of oohs, phones flashing like paparazzi at a scandal. Jennifer blinks, caught off guard, her high spirits deflating like a punctured balloon, but she recovers with a nervous laugh, clashing. No, we're all crowns in this game. I just thought it'd be fun to reminisce, strength in sisterhood, right? But the damage is done. Mariah's eyes, those windows to a soul tempered by betrayal and triumph, harden into diamonds. Flashbacks play in her mind. The American Idol finale where tensions boiled over judges' table, the tabloid frenzy that painted her as the villain, the exhaustion of defending her artistry against peers who envy her whistle register and songwriting genius. Now, here on Jennifer's show, it feels like history repeating, another platform reducing her legacy to gossip fodder. The host, sensing the shift but committed to the segment, pivots to safer ground. Okay, lighter note, Christmas. Your tour's sold out. What's the wildest fan encounter this year? Mariah forces a smile, recounting a tale of a fan proposing mid-fantasy, with a ring hidden in a snow globe, the story landing with polite applause. But the spark is gone, her responses shorten, her body language closing off like fortress gates slamming shut. Audience members exchange wide-eyed glances, tweeting furiously, as Mariah shading J. Hud. This is iconic #heated interview. Backstage, the crew buzzes with concern, one intern whispering, "She's not happy, should we cut to commercial?" Yet the cameras keep rolling, capturing every micro-expression, every unspoken barb. Jennifer tries one last bridge, sharing a vulnerable story of her own idol days, the cyberbullying that nearly broke her, hoping to reconnect. "We both know the price of fame, Mariah. It's lonely up here." For a fleeting second, empathy flickers in Mariah's gaze, a shared nod to the isolation of superstardom. But then Jennifer adds, almost offhand, "That's why I admire how you've mentored so many, even if some say you're selective with the crown." It's the final straw, the implication of gatekeeping hitting Mariah's core wound of being misunderstood as aloof. Her chair scrapes back slightly as she straightens, the universal signal of discomfort, and the studio holds its breath, waiting for the diva to either diffuse or detonate. And detonate she does, in a way that's pure Mariah, elegant fury wrapped in unapologetic truth. Rising slowly from her seat, her gown whispering against the floor like a secret being told, Mariah fixes Jennifer with a stare that's equal parts hurt and fire. Selective. Jennifer, I've poured my heart into this industry, written hits that healed generations, fought for every black girl with a dream to believe she could whistle her way to the top. If that's selective, then guilty as charged. But let's be clear, I don't need to mentor everyone who borrows my blueprint without a thank you. This isn't a roast, it's real talk. The words tumble out like a verse from Breakdown, raw and rhythmic, silencing the room into stunned reverence. Jennifer's face pales, her mouth opening and closing like a fish out of water, the consummate performer momentarily stripped bare. The audience is frozen, a sea of wide eyes and held breaths, some cheering softly in solidarity with Mariah's unfiltered authenticity, others clutching pearls at the audacity. Chaos whispers through the control booth, roll credits. No, keep it live, this is gold. Mariah doesn't wait for a response, she gathers her clutch, her posture regal as a queen reclaiming her throne, and with a final, it's been real, but I think I've said enough, she turns on her heel, striding toward the exit with the poise of someone who's walked off worse stages. The doors swing open to reveal a hallway lined with shocked staff, but Mariah doesn't break stride, her team scurrying behind like loyal courtiers. Jennifer, recovering her composure, stammers into the mic, "Wow, folks, that's Mariah Carey, unfiltered and unforgettable. We'll be right back after this." But the damage is irrevocable, the walk-off captured in high definition, destined to go viral within minutes. As Mariah vanishes into the green room, slamming the door with a thud that echoes her frustration, the internet ignites. Tweets explode. Mariah just ate on J Hud. Hashtag walk-off queen, countered by, that was rude, Jennifer was being sweet. Hashtag team JHUD. Clips circulate on TikTok, remixed with dramatic music swells, turning the moment into a meme factory overnight. Back on set, Jennifer forces a smile through the break, her mind racing with regret, had she pushed too far in her quest for ratings. The producers high-five discreetly, knowing controversy equals clicks, but the human cost lingers. Mariah, alone for a beat, exhales deeply, tears pricking her eyes not from anger, but from the exhaustion of always being the difficult one. Her phone buzzes with support from Ariana, Beyoncé, even a cryptic emoji from Whitney's estate account, a virtual hug from the Divas sisterhood. Yet, in that solitude, she whispers to herself, I stood my ground, reclaiming her narrative in a world eager to write it for her. The walk-off isn't defeat, it's declaration, a line in the sand drawn by a woman who's survived worse than a heated chat. In the aftermath, the entertainment sphere fractures into fervent debate, social media a battlefield where lambs, Mariah's devoted fans, rally like an army, flooding timelines with defenses of their icon's boundaries. Mariah doesn't owe anyone her grace if they're serving shade disguised as shade, one viral thread argues, dissecting every inflection of Jennifer's questions as microaggressions rooted in competitive undercurrents. Meanwhile, Jennifer Hudson's counter with pleas for context, sharing throwback clips of the duo's friendly collabs, like their Oh Santa duet that once had them harmonizing like long-lost sisters. News outlets scramble, TMZ dropping, exclusive, sources claiming Mariah stormed off over a snubbed shout-out to her Christmas legacy, while Variety pens think pieces on the pitfalls of empowerment interviews turning toxic. By evening, the clip amasses 10 million views, spawning Saturday Night Live sketches in the works and podcast deep dives questioning if this is the new era of diva drama post-Y2K. Mariah, ever the strategist, breaks her silence not with a rant, but a poised Instagram post, a throwback photo of her in a studio booth, captioned, "My voice has always spoken for me. Grateful for the journey, unapologetic for the truth." Hashtag meaning of Mariah. It's cryptic poetry, racking up likes from A-listers like Taylor Swift and Lizzo, who comment fire emojis in solidarity. Jennifer, on the other hand, addresses it head-on in a solo segment the next day, her voice thick with emotion. I adore Mariah, she's a legend who paved my path. If I crossed a line, that's on me. Let's turn this into a conversation about lifting voices, not clashing them. It's a masterclass in damage control, humanizing the host while subtly shifting blame to the misunderstanding. Behind closed doors, their teams broker a fragile truce, whispers of a joint appearance at a charity gala to mend fences, but trust, once cracked, mends slowly. Fans dissect the fallout through fan cams and reaction videos, some hailing Mariah's exit as a feminist flex against performative allyship, others lamenting the lost chance for genuine unity among black female powerhouses. The incident ripples outward, sparking broader discussions on panels from The View to Hot Ones. Is the industry still pitting women against each other, or are these clashes just the growing pains of unscripted authenticity? Mariah retreats to her snowy Hamptons haven, surrounded by her twins Monroe and Moroccan, penning lyrics that weave pain into power, hinting at an album drop that channels this fire. Jennifer, buoyed by a ratings spike, donates a chunk to mental health initiatives, turning lemons into advocacy lemonade. Yet, the scar remains, a reminder that even icons bleed under the glare. As hashtags evolve from hashtag heated interview to hashtag Divas Unite, the world watches, waiting for reconciliation or round two, because in the Game of Thrones that is showbiz, no crown sits easy. Fast forward through the frenzy, and what emerges from the ashes of this talk show tempest is a tapestry richer than rivalry, a testament to the complexities of fame's tightrope. Mariah Carey, undiminished, launches a surprise remix of Hero, featuring Jennifer's ad-libs, a olive branch extended via Spotify that tops charts and quells the Lamb-Hudson wars. The track's liner notes read simply, "To every voice that dares to soar, together or solo." It's Mariah's way, turning conflict into chart-topping catharsis, her 19th #1 proving age is but a note in her endless melody. Jennifer, inspired, dedicates her next EGOT pursuit, a Broadway musical on Dreamgirls lore, to the unsung mentors like Mariah who whispered, "You got this," in the shadows. Their eventual sit-down, months later at a star-studded gala, isn't stiff, it's electric, two queens trading stories of survival over vintage view, the audience witnessing alchemy as old wounds transmute to wisdom. Fans, forever loyal, create fan art montages blending, "And I am telling you I'm not going," with fantasy, symbols of fusion over fracture. The walk-off, once a scandal, becomes lore, taught in masterclasses on boundaries in the biz, a case study in when to exit stage left with head high. Mariah reflects in a follow-up memoir chapter, "That day wasn't about walking off, it was walking toward my truth, heels clicking like a heartbeat." Jennifer echoes in her journal, leaked later, "She showed me grace isn't given, it's earned, and damn, what a lesson." The industry shifts subtly, hosts now trained in empathic interviewing 101, wary of the diva dynamite lurking in every "just between us girls" chat. As Christmas rolls around again, Mariah's tour finale features a holographic Jennifer duetting "All I Want for Christmas," the crowd roaring in unity, snow machines blanketing the arena in forgiveness. It's poetic justice, the heated interview not an end, but a bridge to deeper connection, proving that in the symphony of stardom, even dissonant notes resolve to harmony. And so, the legends endure, their voices intertwining in the annals of pop history, reminding us all that true power isn't in the clash, but in the courage to confront, connect, and carry on. What a ride, what a revelation. Divas don't just sing, they teach, they transform, they triumph. Until next time, keep those whistles high and your truths higher. Fade to black on Cheers Eternal.